Hi guys, welcome back to Transits and Tactics. We are in a really cool transit now. It is cool if you take advantage of it in a very aligned way. So this is the week where you really need to listen to your own inner guidance, right? Because the power of the transit is quite strong. We have Sun in gate 54, which is the gate of ambition, also known sometimes as the gate of marrying maiden. And this is a really interesting theme. It's about presenting yourself, with a full potential in a way. So that's why the marrying maiden, let's just transport ourselves out from this very awoken times into the olden times, right? And the man comes in to choose a bride, and the women are all, got dressed, and who is he gonna choose? Are you good enough, to make it, whether it's, I don't know, a wife or a ball or whatever it is. So that's the energy. You want to present yourself in the best way. And there is this kind of, like, you have to understand the drive of this. This is a drive to be materially successful. This is the energy that is very, very much about business, about money, about influence, about opportunities. So you might be concerned with thoughts about, okay, how can I elevate my positioning? How can I increase my material stance, my financial security? Who can I work with? Who is advantageous? Who is in my network? It's like, consider your network. Who is in my network that I can work with and position myself so that I can be elevated? And of course, it's a good for us in businesses. It's a good energy to have. We've been through some pretty heavy personal transits recently, and it's good to have this little push. And today we're recording this. It's a Monday, start of the week. After all the holidays are finished, there's definitely this. I can sense, all my neighbors sort of activated, kids going back to school, and from school there's more noise around, and I can feel like, okay, we're now in 2025, what is this year going to bring? And this is a root gate. So there is a pressure. There's a pressure as well to show up and be seen full of potential. I'm meeting new people. I can sense that, I'm presenting myself a little bit. I'm always trying to present myself well, but I can see that there is this intention behind this. So if you're feeling these kind of themes, this is gate 54 fueling your drive. And then we have the grounding energy of gate 53. And this is a really, really interesting gate. Have a look if you have it on your design, because if you do, you might be what they call a serial starter, because this is the gate of new beginnings. And it is about, the taking that ambition and doing something new with it, right? So of course it can be used to your advantage, but be really in tune with your strategy and authority, because starting new ventures for the sake of starting, just because you're feeling the drive of changing something, it's an exaggerated drive too. So not all new is good. Follow your inner guidance. That's the only way to know what's good for you, right? If it's not something that will bring you to the next level, it will definitely teach you and take you and show you where you need to tweak and where you need to and adjust things. Just one thing is, think about if there is an energy of ambition. When you're looking for who to work with, who to, collaborate, think about the fact that people will present themselves in the most ambitious way, in the exaggerated way. So if you're hiring in your business, your VAs, your assistants, whoever you're hiring, the way they present themselves could be more than they can deliver. Again, follow your own strategy and authority. You'll always know what's correct for you. But also on the other side, you can find an absolutely brilliant person in your network that could help you, achieve your next goal. Just being aware, I think, of this energies really, really help. And this is why we're doing this series. This is why we do what we do. And another very interesting thing as well is that you have this drive with a 54, and it's like limitless, almost, illogical drive. If you have a harmonious gate 32 and you have the channel of transformation, what this 32 brings is the intuition and, in a way, more conservative approach. So it can ground the 54's ambition with the intuition to know what to follow that is of value, that is, truly aligned, or or not. So you have to be very careful with, because it's all about support. You just have to be very careful that things that presented to you, as I said, they're not exaggerated, that you're using your intuition, that you're using your inner guidance, so you're not dragged into somewhere, because this can happen. Everyone's ambitious now. You could be in a situation where you didn't follow your inner guidance, where somebody else can keep you, you know at a lower level of income, of opportunities, because their ambitions are driving them in a certain way, to maybe promise you the world, but to keep you lower as well. All these themes are there, so up to you how to make your decisions. I think I personally feel really good in this couple of days of this transit. I think it's a really good time to use this ambition to see, in terms of your brand, are you presenting yourself in the best way? If what can be changed, what can book a photo shoot or something? How can you present yourself now that you're feeling driven, but maybe that's something that can be working for you over and over again after the transit is over? That's how I take advantage of these energies. Can you create a piece of content that really expresses certain vision that you have, channel this drive that you have, this ambition you have, into how you show up in the world. And I think that this is something, remember, when we're creating something, that energy in the moment gets captured. So let's say on video, that video will work for you over and over again, even when the transit is over. So that's a really, really good way. And my tip to you, Anita, how are you keeping, and how is this transit affecting you?
Yeah, I like this energy as well. I like Capricorn energy now that Pluto's left Capricorn. Thank you,
Yeah.
Pluto. Um, what I find about this energy is very much driving us to go in. So, you might have been looking at and assessing your business and your business practices for the last few years. I mean, work has turned on its head since 2020. So, what you'll be finding now is that you're feeling really driven to go in and connect with that inner guidance. This is pure manifesting energy at its best. It's understanding that when you're driven correctly and connected to your strategy and authority to take the actions, it's very, very often successful. You realize your potential, the gate 32. Now, the other side of this is Mars is in retrograde still. It's gone back into Cancer today. It's in retrograde until the 20th, 24th of February or something. Um, so what you might also find with this gate, the drive to start something, is that there's old stories, old traumas, emotional, unresolved emotional energy that is, you might feel unsafe to start, insecure about starting, right? So this happened before, so I'm not sure will I do it again. And so to be very aware that that this emotional energy, you'll know that the energy is unresolved because it's bigger than what is really happening in front of you. Right. So you'll be angrier, more reactive, more sensitive, more super sensitive. This is really, and a lot of people have said to me, a lot of my clients have said, "Oh, I'm so sensitive. I'm feeling everything now. I wish I didn't start this journey," right? I'm kind of there. No, you're feeling these nuances, these emotions, so that you can read the room more correctly and make your call to stay or to go, to take those actions from that inner guidance and quiet, right? So the whole surrounding energy is about getting still within, understanding that start, that divinely guided or intuitively guided, confirmed with your decision start, is usually very successful. The other side of the gate 32 is that you might fear failure. So, for every Capricorn energy, there's the Cancer energy to counterbalance it. So if you're feeling insecure, if you're suddenly remembering old work setups where you were hurt, maybe constructively dismissed or unfairly dismissed, Now is the time to resolve those emotions around it because it means your starts this year will be really intentional and really powerful. So it's just to be aware of that energy because I'm listening to the astrologers talking about this and the human design, and they're saying you might find the first 6 months a bit, up and down. And when they're saying it that mildly, I'm kind of there, be aware. It won't be just you feeling more reactive, maybe saying something quicker than you need to, or taking action quicker than you need to. It'll be other people as well. And there you might be experiencing the insecurities, of course, will bring up control games. They'll bring up perfectionism. They'll bring up comparisonitis. So my advice for the next 6 months of 2025 is to, yes, pay attention to what's going on outside of you, but really use it to inform your inner process, not define it. Stop looking for ideas from other people. Start going within. Start connecting with that inner guidance because, and this is why I've started working with the angels again. These are quite volatile energies. You can use your divine connections to maintain that frequency of manifesting while you're doing the human thing. And it's just realizing when Elizabeth Peru said, you'll be up and down, rolling, endings and beginnings daily. That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot from her, as far as I'm concerned, because she's so um, potentially, she's so keen to keep everything positive. But sometimes you need to face things the way they need to be looked at. And also, one more thing is you might find your BS-ometer is at in negative numbers, right? So this is what I love about this energy because this is what's going to happen over the next 6 months. We're going to start seeing clearly who's bullshitting us and who isn't. And we won't have the same tolerance. We won't be able to say, ah, yeah, yeah, and smile nicely and kind of go, yeah, whatever you say. We literally be challenged to zip it and just know inside, they're bullshitting me. I'm going to take a different action or ask a different question here because I can tell straight away that
Mhm.
this, or tell them to what we say in Ireland, cop on, no, that won't work. And cut it at the quick before it grows or snowballs into something that is not win-win for you. All right. So,
That's right.
so this is a super energy. And I have this 53 starting energy where just make your starts deliberate. This is super manifesting, but you need to be very grounded, very centered, and very deliberate in what you're
So
doing.
do I actually. I have it both. It's both unconscious and unconscious. And it's interesting because this energy is sort of like, okay, let's do something. You know,
Mm,
my action, my sense in the human design variable sense is action as well. But I do think that this is really connected. So yeah, there's always like, okay, let's do something about it. Let's start something. But at the same time, there is a lot of struggling with starting. So this is when we're hearing about this new beginnings, right? In my life, even though I have this gate activated both in my conscious and subconscious, I don't remember off the top of my head what planets, but that doesn't even matter. Just it's there, right? So I have a big issue with starting a lot of things I want to do. My biggest, most successful offer I have in my business that kind of like elevated my business in the best direction was on the shelf for a year, outlined, brainstormed, outlined, and just sitting and waiting. Because the starting, even though you have this gate, even though you have this starting energy, sometimes can be very, very difficult. And this week, I think that we will also feel sometimes we will want to jump into things and start something new, but that other thing that creates the difficulty with starting could be there
mm.
too. And it's really,
That's Yeah, that's a really good point because I have this starter energy as well. And part of this is realizing that partnership might be good for you in business. That you might start and write down the idea, but get someone else to post it for you, to complete it for you. So you can manage how to complete what you've started. I've literally had to train myself to complete what you've started. Get smart about how to complete things. And I had a really good example with a client of mine who she had all the ideas about the posts and she'd be get up in the morning and she'd want to do the post and she'd be there, she'd be thinking about it and she'd be overthinking it and she'd be thinking about it. By 6 o'clock, she's going, oh, it's too late to post now.
Yeah, but
So
it's too
she,
much thinking. You have to
yeah,
post as
yeah.
you are. When you're activated, go post. Don't wait.
Exactly. So you're a natural starter. What you might find is that when you're given project management work to finish things, you're not that good.
Yeah.
So get the starter jobs, get the jobs that mean that you're setting up the process, doing the planning, getting things together, and hand it over to the person who's the natural finisher, who has the gate 42. It's really interesting to see how that goes. Um, but yeah, I do find that the starting is it's it's an actual skill set.
It's true. It's true. But again, just because one thing when we were talking about this, and I'm thinking, just because you have something, or if you don't have something, doesn't mean you can't do this. Because you just said something, Anita. You said well, you can learn the skill of finishing, right? Because there's also acquired skills. You might not have, for example, a gate of finishing in your design, but you can learn to do it and you can still, there's things we need to finish in life, right? We can't, just because both of us have this gate activated, that doesn't mean that everything can be unfinished now. So it's about the discipline, and the discipline is not about your design, guys. Everybody's like coming to the human design or astrology or anywhere, angels, and they're like, oh, where do I get the discipline? Where's in my chart says that I'm not disciplined so I can just like make it an excuse? Well, there isn't such thing, right? It's up to you. We're here right now in this energy of ambition, but it is up to you to have the discipline to follow through, whether you have the drive right now, or sometimes when you don't have the drive. It's also the discipline to do this, what I call the donkey work, that just keeps things moving. I want to mention something that you brought up, Elizabeth Peru, who I find she's an intuitive guide, guys. If you don't know her, you can look on Facebook, for example. She has a lot of presence, or YouTube. Elizabeth Peru, an intuitive guide from Perth, Australia, and we follow her. We both follow her. She was talking about, as she always does, about the new year. I actually wrote down on my big blackboard, I wrote down something that she said about 2025, and I want to share it with you because it corresponds with what Anita was saying earlier. Um, be inspired for yourself. Be inspired out of yourself. This is the year to bring your attention from others, where it's going to go, and that's your perfectionism, that's your comparisitis, that's all these things. When the attention is on the others, and I already see every day that yes, the attention is going on the others. You want to correct them, you want to, bring it back in. You need to be inspired with yourself, within yourself, and it's your responsibility to find that inspiration. It's not up to anyone else or anything else in the world to inspire you. It's your responsibility. But it takes, this is the discipline, right? It takes your decision to go and read something, listen to something, find how can you reignite yourself? How can you find that place of inspiration? Then you can create, then you can become magnetic, then you can attract people, then you will attract great opportunities to yourself. So yes, this is an interesting year where, guys, we're like a quarter into this century already. Wow. This is shocking, right? But it's going to be a different energy. And, every time the new year starts and we're listening to this forecast, I don't know about you, but I do. I always feel like hopeful. Last year, I was like, oh, the energy of the eighth universal year is going to be like a lot of balance. I was like, yeah, balance is great. Well, it was a different kind of balance. It was the need to balance on that tight rope, right? Which is hard to do. It was the opposite to what I assumed it will be. And so this year, now the ninth universal year, the feminine energy, the year of completion of the cycles that we started in 2017, and again, might feel like, oh, thank God, this is all this like a hard male energy, masculine energy is finished. No, there's always a challenge. There's always a challenge if you want to see it this way. But I find that when you bring yourself back within and you just kind of like create this cocoon around yourself and look for the inspiration within yourself, that it gives you a lot of power and grounds you through whatever challenges. Then it's not really a problem to face anything, because you're not dealing with this frequency of reactivity and frustration. You're toning it down, you're grounding within yourself and staying grounded. And that's, I think, is a huge, huge theme that for the year to come right
It
now.
is. Yeah, it's a big deal because Feng Shui is also, it's the year of the wood snake. So it's very grounded, very spiritual, very anchored, very intentional. And it's much easier to do that when you're not focused outside. But here's a key for your business, that a lot of people don't realize. Understanding can only get you so far. Understanding something doesn't get you the new result you want. It's acting on that understanding is what gets you the result you want. So when you're manifesting, when you get into that quiet space, when you're connected to your instincts, your intuition, your insights, what I call all our senses, our common senses, right? And your decision strategy. Now, when you do look out, you see the things the business tools, the marketing tools, the right coaches that will align with where you want to go next. So, and you'll see it much more clearly. So it's like you get laser focused through all the clutter out there of everything that's available. So just so you know that, like, the real reason for staying grounded and centered is, and you stay in your prosperous flow.
Yeah.
So prosperous flow is following the cues that keep you in a place where you're attracting the right people, the right clients, the right opportunities to create the material security that you need moving forward. So it's a very powerful time.
Yes, it is. Yes, I am glad that we are able to share with you all these themes and help you stay grounded and stay in the flow, guys. So we will see you in the next episode of Transits and Tactics. As usual, if you need support with marketing or manifestation and prosperity, reach out to Anita for the manifestation, to myself for showing up and marketing and your online visibility, and we can support you this way. So until the next time, thank you and take care.